Black Crane Supplements, home of the legendary chewable pre-workout No Hydro. Instant absorption for skin-bursting pumps and marathon endurance. Recover faster and train harder with No Hydro. Stop wasting your hard-earned money on products that make you feel sick and don't deliver your desired results. Attack your stubborn fat at the source and feel great all day. Melt your stress, drop that bloat, and get in the best shape of your life with Halcyon Shred. Black Crane Supplements was founded upon real science and is a firm believer that less is more. We never tax your adrenal glands or use any cost-cutting ingredients that could be detrimental to your health or performance. Check out blackcranesupplements.com.
10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician, Chris Aceto, on this February 26th, 2018 evening. And, Chris, it's Arnold Week, and it doesn't get much better than that. Big week. I mean, we have really two big weekends in the bodybuilding world, Arnold Week and Olympia Week. And when I say Arnold Week, you know, nowadays there's so many Arnold Classics all over the place, but we're talking Arnold USA, Columbus, Ohio, the original, started 1989. What are we? I think is this the 35th anniversary? I think it is.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think I was at no, it can't be 36 years, is it?
35 years, I think it is. Or 20,
no,
25 years?
No, 30.
90.
You're aging me, dude.
What is it, 25 years? I think it's 25 years. We're both losing our mind. It's 30 years, Chris. It's the 30th anniversary. Can you believe it? Nuts. I think I lost Chris.
I'm here.
Oh.
I'm
Are you flabbergasted?
Huh? No, I'm frozen. I'm trying to think.
30 years it's been.
Yeah.
89 was the first one, and now we're in 2018. It's 30 years.
Oh, 89.
Gaspari won the first one.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
You probably were at the first one. I think you told me you were. Yeah.
I was. I think Robbie.
Can you believe that was 30 years ago?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can. It's all. I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm gonna either live a more relaxed life or a more risky life. I'm not sure which one.
You decided to.
No, because it's right. It's. Imagine I've been hanging around front double biceps for 30 years, and
well, think about this.
Jose Raymond did 30 years ago would have been 12.
Well, I'm 50, so that must have been 20 years old when the first Arnold Classic was. I remember reading the results in Flex or something like Muscle and Fitness magazine, and back then you had to wait 3 months till the issue came out to even know who won the first Arnold Classic.
Isn't that crazy? You had to wait. You had to wait 3 months. Mm-hmm. You couldn't even phone up people on their cell phones because they didn't have them.
No, there's no. So the funny thing was, I remember. People don't realize that there was no internet. So the only place you got information was from the Bodybuilding magazine. So when you got a magazine, that was your source of bodybuilding for the month. So you would read the magazine. I'm sure you did the same thing so many times, and you'd have it in the bathroom that you'd actually memorize the ads too. You could probably, I don't know if you could do this. I could remember the page where that Gaspari was, the picture of Gaspari was on that he won the Arnold Classic, and I can remember almost like the commentary and how they had the page divided up and the colors they had on the page, like sectioning off different areas with, because I read the article so many freaking times.
Well, remember the first time you ever discovered the internet with a computer and just spent 400 hours in the first 2 days on it?
Yeah, I still do.
That was like a magazine when it came in the mail, right? You'd grab it and you just don't bother me. And you start from page 1.
Right. But you know that even if you got through the whole thing in one day, which some people did, then you'd have
something.
28 days or 29 more days to actually have to go through the same magazine, and you start reading things that you didn't read the first time because you weren't really that interested. But then you're like, I don't really have anything else to read. I might as well read this ad from Joe Weider's Dynamic Muscle Builder and see what it's all about. And so I start memorizing the pictures from the ads, and it was crazy.
You want to laugh, Dave? You want to laugh your ass off? Okay, see how into the magazine you were? When I met Joe Weider, I told him once, why didn't you ever come out? You know, because I told him I loved the magazines. He said him too. He still did, and the whole 9 yards. And I said, why didn't you come out with a magazine like the National Enquirer comes out, like weekly? Why don't you come out weekly?
Right.
And he said he thought of it.
Oh, he
But
did.
people, like, there was pushback from people, you know, due to, like, expenses, and, you know, a lot of it was...
He wanted higher quality, and he couldn't do that high quality probably on a weekly magazine, I have a feeling, probably.
Well, there was pushback, I think, in terms of, like, you know, how would you get the advertisers with it? You know, they're advertising once a month, like $10,000 an ad per month and
Right.
per issue.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to pay $2,500. Are they going to skip issues? Are they going to only advertise every other week?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, there wasn't
you
as
know,
much money in the bodybuilding. That's what it was.
But he lit up. Well, you know what? There was a lot of money in his pocket in the bodybuilding because he was the only game in town. You know.
True. Very true. Unbelievable. I find it just incredible that you have to. I mean, think about it. How many years? 30 years.
Well, look at Arnold was a young man. He was 40.
Yeah.
He was only 41 or something when he was first having. It was 10 years younger than me and you.
It's amazing.
I mean,
when
think
you
how
about
young
it.
40
Yeah.
is when you're 50.
Right. Think about what they accomplished in that time, right?
It's ridiculous, yeah.
It's you know, and they made it. Yeah. When I remember, like Matt Loers back in the early days, who kind of runs the whole production there in Columbus now. And I remember fighting with him like in the early days to get press passes and stuff like that. And that wasn't his full-time job. It was like something they did like on the weekends, because for this first show. Now, like people's whole lives revolve around that bodybuilding show. I mean, they have full-time positions where they make really good money, and they're very important. And it's all based on that show and making it happen, and and they're involved in some of the other shows too. But I'm just saying this full-time staff just based on one show on one weekend out of the entire year. That's how popular Arnold Classic has become and how lucrative it became. I wonder if Arnold thought that he could actually make money from that. When they first started, or if he was just doing it as like a kind of.
Of course,
a goof,
no, he does everything to. You know what? Absolutely, his goal was to make money, but his also goal was to put on a show that he could be proud of. It's like doing an apartment. If you give a tremendous product, people are going to rent it, even if you think that you're not going to. I mean, you always think, yes, you have to make money, but kind of if you come up with the best product, you'll make money anyway. So he came up with a crazy product, right? It was it was way ahead of its time in terms of production value, things to do outside of just watching a bodybuilding show. Value, at the beginning, if you remember, you used to buy a VIP ticket, and Arnold would take pictures with every single fan.
Every person, yeah, isn't that crazy that he did that?
People would wait in line forever, but you get your own personal Polaroid. You can explain what that is, Dave, to people who are under the age of 22. A Polaroid photo of Arnold and yourself if you bought a VIP package.
I still have the Polaroid camera. I was taking Polaroid pictures when we were back in New York, and I was putting them up on the wall there. You probably saw them and I would write with a little magic mark like the old days. This is when so-and-so was there. I gotta find those pictures. I don't even know where I put all those Polaroids, but it was funny. It was a camera you took. At the time you'd have to take pictures with, and then you have to get film developed at a developing place, which would take a week or so. And Polaroid was a way to take a picture, and it would instantly print out this little picture on a little photographic paper out of the camera. It was like kind of in there already, and it just exposed the film, and it was incredible the way it worked.
People used to send me Polaroids, dude. Put it that way. They used to mail me Polaroids of how they looked.
Yeah.
That's the noise it would make.
My sister, believe it or not, I think this was in the 90s. This guy on Long Island Keith Hart had started this business where they would send girls to like nightclubs with this Polaroid camera, and they'd have these little frames, these like little cardboard frames, and what they would do is they would go around and they would be like, "Do you want a picture?" And it was like $10, and you and your friends were all going around. She'd take a picture, she'd put it in this little frame with the name of the club on it, and you'd have like a little memento, and then they would tip the girls. And my sister made a fortune because my sister was like great at extracting, and she was the Polaroid girl. This was in the 90s.
Well, we had the Polaroid boy. The Polaroid boy was Jay Cutler.
Oh, he's Polaroid?
Jay had a Polaroid camera. It was like a high quality one.
They were expensive, yeah.
Yeah, and people would come to like his booth. I don't even think he turned pro yet. Just people would come to see his like width, and gawk at him like a.
And he would charge for Polaroid pictures.
Yeah, he would take a picture with people. If you wanted to take his picture,
you had to take a Polaroid with him first and buy it from him, right? And then
No. He was just openly like, listen, if you want to take a picture, but you have to develop it in 2 weeks. This way you could get a picture instantaneous and sign it to Dave. Best wishes. See you at the Olympia.
There you go. This is his first money-making foray into the bodybuilding.
Arnold. What's the question on my mind before we get into the Arnold and handicapping it is the Arnold Brazil. Is that a Raphael show or a Olympia
Raphael
related? Show. Who are the competitors?
I don't know. The IFBB Elite.
What's Bob Chickarello say about that?
I don't know. I guess Arnold's Arnold. Arnold does whatever he wants. I guess Arnold. Here's the problem. Arnold had these relationships in these other countries that were Raphael strongholds. I guess. Think about it. The Arnold Europe is in Raphael's, backyard basically. So I guess what they did was they split up the shows, and Arnold said, "Look, I have a relationship with him, and they got away with it. He got away with it. I guess the Arnold Australia and the Arnold USA is NPC now, the amateur show, and the pro show is IFBB Pro, and then the Arnold Europe, the Arnold Brazil, and the Arnold South Africa are Raphael shows. They're IFBB Elite Pro, and I guess the IFBB Amateur is the amateur division. And that's how they divided up. And who's going to say? Who can say no to Arnold? Arnold's Arnold. Only Arnold can get away with that. And that's how they're doing it. I really believe that Arnold probably can. Look, if anyone could have gotten his show on TV, don't you think Arnold could have done it if he really wanted to?
Well, he used to have it on TV.
I know. I can't believe that that if he really. I think he doesn't even want to break. I don't think he cares. I think
Dave,
it's so
TV,
popular.
You know what? Yeah, but it's just like TV is. People still watch TV, obviously, and there's a lot of good shows on TV, but there's so many options outside of TV to, let's say, broadcast the Arnold event. You've said it on the internet. Holy shit. TV's like a dinosaur now.
Yeah, but
TV in the heyday, it was
right. But TV is still not like going the way of the magazines. It's just in other words, the main stations.
There's not as many viewers.
Well, the main cable stations, right, are not as important as they were prior because now people watch the internet on their TV too. But the television set still is there, and people still do watch these reality shows and all this stuff. And I watch the Olympics on TV.
I'll tell you this. It don't matter because Arnold's going to have his show this week. It's going to be the biggest ever. It's going to be the most grossing ever. It's going to be he's going to make the most money
bigger
ever.
Than the Olympics.
Well,
we just had the Olympics. The Arnold show is bigger than the Olympics.
It'd be nice to have it on TV, but what is the point?
Yeah. Can you imagine if they covered Arnold's show on? It didn't even have to be on NBC. It could be like on one of these cable stations like ESPN. Imagine if they covered all the events like they do with the Olympics, and even if they just showed the highlights of some of the stuff that maybe the more obscure events. But he has more sports events at the fitness weekend than they do at the Olympics. Imagine if they had. If Arnold got like 20 camera crews there and they're filming everything, and then they put it together. Some of the stuff they show live, some of the stuff they show, maybe taped like they do at the Olympics, and then some of the stuff is just highlights, because like I said, of these obscure, like they have painting there now and they have chess and stuff like that. We don't need to watch that. It's like watching paint dry. So that would be unbelievable. Think about how many people would want to go to it, and the sponsorship that would come in if Arnold could put together a TV package like that. You think they're making money? You know how hard it is to extract money from these supplement companies? They don't have a lot of money, a lot of them, and they don't, and so they're getting piddly squeaks. Can you imagine if Nike and Reebok is involved and all these top brands,
Reebok was
Starbucks,
involved, I think, at one time,
and stuff like that?
Reebok.
Yeah, who knows? But I'm just saying, can you imagine if these companies were coming in with big bucks because Arnold has this thing on TV, like the Olympics? He could sell like they do with the Olympics. Like, who's going to be the title sponsors of this? And you're going to get you're not going to have the biggest booth in the expo. You're going to have top billing commercials on network television. I mean,
ain't going to happen.
I think if anyone can make it happen, Arnold can do anything. Don't you think Arnold has the most power in Hollywood right now of anyone?
In Hollywood?
Yeah. No. Who has more than him?
I don't know. I mean,
he's got to be top 10.
Yeah, top 10 for sure. Top 10
so I mean, if he can't make it happen,
maybe top 10. Yeah, top 10. Yeah, he's a big.
The Weinsteins are way down the list now.
What's that?
The Weinsteins are very far down the list now. Oh my God! I think Arnold could do it. I don't know if he wants to do it, but I mean, if he wanted to, man, I think it would put his show in the stratosphere. It would be something that people look forward to watching every year. I think regular people could wrap their arms around it because you know what? It's not just bodybuilding and fitness and bikini and stuff like that. And I get news for you: the fitness routines are more entertaining than watching some of the Olympic gymnasts. But my point is that you have regular sports. You have gymnastics. You have track and field. You have, WWE wrestling or whatever they do there. You have, I don't know. They get so many sports I can't even remember them all anymore. But you have powerlifting and Olympic lifting, and it would be tremendous. It would be fantastic. And you know what? If he couldn't get it on network television, he can create a YouTube channel where they cover the sport to the degree that they cover the Olympics. And you know what? It would get billions of hits that YouTube channel, and you know what, they can rationalize and monetize that through YouTube and make some kind of a deal with YouTube, and I'm absolutely sure they would certainly make back their money plus way more. Maybe not the first year, but after that first year they would make a tremendous amount of money.
I would agree with that.
So there's my idea. Arnold, I know you haven't interviewed with me yet, but I'm giving you a great idea. Take it and run with it, because I'd love to see it happen. I really would. I think it would be great for the sport. All right, what else? Let's see what's going on here in the sport. But we're going to definitely, obviously, we're going to handicap the Arnold, and we're going to talk about who's in the show. I have two interesting articles. I'll save those for the end. All right, well, first of all, we talked to Sean Roden. You and I did this week. We went over what happened. A lot of people are still wondering what happened with Sean. He obviously had two stomach ulcers he didn't know about. He was bleeding internally for a long time. His hematocrit was like 4 or something like that. It was like really low.
Hemoglobin was 4.
Hemoglobin was 4, which is normal is like 15, for a bodybuilder. And
I gave you the leaky pipe scenario because people say, why wouldn't he notice the blood?
It was a slow leak, so to speak, but he was losing blood for a very long time, and the fact that he actually looked as good as he did is a miracle, and thank God they found that. I actually sent him a text message, and I told him that they gave him this oil, this edible oil that you can consume that will help heal the gastric ulcers. I can't take credit for it. Someone else sent it to me, but and I can't remember who did. Thank you, whoever did, but it's leaving my mind right now. I can't remember who it was, but I said, you know what? If it works, great. It's the extra virgin Siberian pine nut oil, and so I told Sean to use it. I created a little protocol for him with it, and I told him to mix it into his food and his shakes, stuff like that, and hopefully it'll help heal him up a little better, and we'll see a great Sean Roden for the Olympia. But that's not what's going on right now. Right now, the Arnold Classic is on everyone's mind, and this coming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because we know Sunday is always Arnold's VIP breakfast he's got there. I've never gone to it, not once, but because I either up all night or I take off on Sunday. But I will say this: we got a great lineup, even with Sean Roden not in that lineup. I think that this might be the deepest lineup we've seen in recent memory, at least. I think, you know, you got defending champion CEDRIC MCMILLAN coming back. You have third place Olympia finisher William Bonac in the lineup. You obviously have Dexter Jackson, who's won 5 Arnold USAs. He's the winningest Arnold Classic Champ of all time. He's also probably the oldest guy in the lineup. You got Ruli Winkler, who's looking like a creature from another planet right now, and is riding a very high wave. You have Dennis Wolf making his comeback here, and you got Hide Yamagishi on the Milos protocol, who's moved up from 212 to the open category here. Steve Kukla making a comeback. We haven't seen him really at his best for a couple years now. Lionel Baiki, who's always very dangerous, and of course John De La Rosa, who was second behind Sergio at the New York Pro last year in this lineup as well. So I mean, and then of course we have some wild cards. You got Fred Smalls in this lineup, who's looking really big. Justin, or a lot of people know him as Luis Rodriguez, who was 4th at New York Pro last year. This guy has been coming on like crazy strong over the last 2 years. He's always dangerous. Lucas Osladol will probably be the most ripped guy in the lineup. And then we have a guy I don't really know, Paulo Polacek from Germany. So I don't think there's anyone bad in this lineup. And how can I forget Max Charles? We might have the best back on stage. So we got a lineup here from hell. And Chris, you know what? Trying to handicap this lineup and figure out who's going to win is almost impossible. I almost don't want to even go on record as making a predictions. I mean, when you hear this lineup, give me your first call out.
First call out is CEDRIC, Dexter, Roli,
Bonac.
They'll call 4.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a good. And you think they leave Dennis Wolf out of that top 4?
Yeah.
What do you think? Have you seen the videos that Wolf's been putting up?
Yes, I saw a video today of him.
What'd you think?
He looks exactly like I expected.
And
great, but
downsized.
And I said when big guys take time off, it's way different than
Jay Cutler, when that last comeback he made when you were working with him a little bit.
Coleman had injury,
Right.
I mean, it's when Coleman had the injury, came back the next year, had a few months off, couldn't he could not get his density back for 2007. Jay had well over a year off where he wasn't training when he had the surgery, and he was like way downsized. Granted, he probably only trained 14 weeks total running into that Olympia. But even with his genetics, the density's not there.
And let's face it, Wolf's 40 years old too.
Another big guy, big frame, big guy, big, is Wolf. And I've said it before, it's different for a short guy to come back and have his body come back as opposed to a big guy, because a big guy always takes more time to fill out. And a big building burns down, takes a long time to rebuild it. A small little building burns down, even though it's got all the bells and whistles. Yeah. It's easy to rebuild it. It's quicker.
True.
And the same thing is with the body. It takes a longer time to rebuild that. So how does Dennis look? I thought his condition was fantastic. I thought his density was really good.
Right.
I just don't see that crazy roundness that at times he's had running into Olympia.
Could it be that he's
at Olympia?
Could it be that he's just very depleted, right now?
Yeah, but you can't eat carbs and put on muscle.
I don't know. Chad had him eating. What was he eating? Remember Chad helped him with that Olympia? He was eating.
Yeah, but I mean, this planet is not as big. I mean, those are two different, planets.
Right.
Right. There's flat, and you can eat and you get bigger looking because you're big, really. And there's just, I'm not as big as I used to be.
Right. Yeah, you're right. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be a tough comeback for him. But you know what? I think the fact that he's going to get back on stage.
Honestly, though, having said that, based on the pictures with the neck injury, a neck injury is what torpedoed Jeff King's career.
I didn't know that. I always thought that Jeff just quit because he got sick of the whole.
Well, he quit because he quit. Because
how did he have a neck injury? He had the biggest neck in bodybuilding.
He had a car accident.
Really?
And
isn't that weird? The guy with the biggest neck in bodybuilding of all time.
Isn't that totally nuts, right? Yeah. And he had a neck injury, and he just couldn't push the way he could push before. Instead of training like an animal, he could only train pretty hard.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, go Google Jeff King, and he was one of the original Super Freaks. Wasn't it true? And then I don't know if this, you could probably verify this. I heard that it was supposed to. They were trying to set up the Olympia to be Jeff King versus Lee Haney back in those.
It was true. 100%.
It was true. Okay.
Well, Joe was trying to set it up, and as much pull as Joe had, Joe couldn't set it up.
Now, what was it? What stopped that? What was the impediment?
I don't know. Maybe Ben, because Jeff did not win the Nationals, and the whole point was the Nationals was, and the NPC was the feeder for the IFBB, and Jeff had won the Mr. America '83 the same year or a year after that Haney won.
Right.
Previous to that, they were all competing together.
Right, because there was no NPC at that point. Yeah.
So it was almost like this split with the IFBB and the IFBB Elite. You know what I mean? Let's say some guys who are competing at this past year's Olympia in the IFBB Elite, it might confuse some people.
Right.
So here comes Jeff King, looking like a super freak, in the age of Lee Haney, or that era rather. And, Jeff had competed in the NPC, actually. He competed both NPC and AAU, and people didn't really know which one was going to be people didn't know which one was going to take over. So Jeff stuck with the AAU and won the Mr. America and went that route, and then got hurt.
I didn't even know that. See, I learned something myself today. All right, well, let's get back to this lineup. CEDRIC McMillan is the defending champion. Forget where he places at the Olympia, because we know he's got some kind of mental problems with the Olympia. He never peaks. He always has problems. He gets sick. He comes in out of shape. Whatever it is, he's got I always call it the Kai disease for the Olympia. But the Arnold seems to be his show. He seems to be able to own that show and always come in looking really good. And obviously he's been close to winning a couple times. And last year he had the decisive victory. The year before that, obviously it was him and Kai, and a lot of people, including the judges, thought he should have won. And so Cedric's on a roll as far as Arnold. He came off also. He won the last show of 2017 out there in San Marino. So Cedric's hot right now. Obviously, Bonac is probably another guy that's very hot in this lineup because he just finished third. Probably should have been second at the Mr. Olympia. And, of course, Dexter Jackson, very, very dangerous in this lineup. Well, this is a different type of contest for Cedric because he's going up against guys that are, placing at the top of the Olympia lineup. Will William Bonac and Dexter Jackson be more difficult for Cedric than a guy like Kai Green?
Not one bit. If Cedric looks anything like he's looked at 4 straight Arnolds.
Right. Well,
I don't think those guys can beat him if Cedric looks the way he does at 4 straight Arnolds. Right. So put it this way, and if you're not sure of that, just as a litmus test, just remove Cedric out of the equation and say, can Bonac beat Kai Green? Yes or no?
I don't know. Maybe he could.
Well, then he's in for a run. I would say no. Kai Green can beat.
Normally, not. I mean, it depends, I guess, who's in shape. I mean, if both guys are in their best shape, no, Kai Green's better. He's a bigger version.
Okay, so I use that as to illuminate the idea that Cedric has beaten Kai. So at the Arnold. So in turn, if Bonac can't beat Kai, then Bonac can't get by Cedric.
The question is, will Cedric be his best? Now, I understand you're not working with him for the show. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. Who is he working? Do we know who he's working with? Is he doing it himself?
No.
Is CC at room service helping him out?
I don't know. But I expect it to look great.
Have you talked to him at all?
Yeah. I talked to him a little bit recently, and I saw some pictures that he sent me like 2 weeks ago. He looked really good.
Oh, he did? Okay. All right. So that's a good sign. If you're telling me he looked good, I have to believe.
Yeah, no, he looked really good.
That's good. I have to say, I really believe my dark horse in this lineup that no one's really anticipating who's going to do very well is this Justin Rodriguez kid. Like I said, a lot of people see it. He has 2 names. It's Luis Rodriguez, but that's his nickname is Justin. He to me is a guy that no one expects, no one really knows a lot about. I mean, we saw him at New York Pro last year. I was very impressed with him. And I think that this guy had made a lot of improvements because he's been growing every single year. And I think he could be a guy who can sneak into that top 5. I think he's going to be a very, very big surprise for a lot of people up in that lineup. The question is, I mean, the pictures you've seen, I know you've seen them on Instagram, of Ruli Winkler lately have been mind-boggling. I mean, the guy is so much bigger than everyone else. I mean, and Bader actually said it in the interview I did with him, Bader Badai. Ruli might be bigger than Big Ramy at this point.
If he's been listening to the radio show, I've been saying that for 2 years. No, I've been saying this. Who's got the biggest arms in bodybuilding?
It's probably Ruli at this point, right?
Of course. Who's got the biggest side chest?
Yeah, you're right.
Who's got the biggest triceps?
Definitely, you're Ruli Winkler. Ruli Winkler's got the craziest triceps I've ever seen. Here's one.
Wait a minute. Who's got the best, most muscular? Who's got the best, most muscular?
Yeah, Ruli. Who's got better triceps, Ruli Winkler or Paul DeMeo?
Ruli.
Really? Okay, Paul had good triceps.
I mean, Ruli might have a little magic muffins in the triceps.
But no, they're crushed right. They're pretty wacky looking.
Well, sometimes when you bake the muffins the right way, it depends on how you put the stuff in.
Oh man! But he's a freak of nature. I mean, you talk about pure muscle and conditioning. I mean, Ruli's the winner, But obviously, there's more to bodybuilding. It's about symmetry, about how the body flows, and Ruli does, tend to get a little blocky, Especially when you pack that much muscle, you got to put some muscle on your waist. There's no way you can't not put muscle on your waist, until someone actually figures out. Yeah, I always said to myself, I wonder if they can come up with something like a Botox where you kind of inject it into your external obliques, and then just kind of shrinks them, makes them atrophy, so that your waistline can be smaller. I mean, that's the next big thing in performance enhancing, as far as I'm concerned. Figuring out how to get rid of muscle in certain areas, you know what I mean? Because it's all about an illusion. If you can site inject, certain body parts like arms and shoulders to make them rounder and bigger, you should be able to take away muscle from certain areas like your waistline to make it smaller, right?
Yeah, it is an illusion.
Whoever can come up with that idea, whoever can figure out that would be the next big money maker in the bodybuilding world. Probably but in Hollywood too. But the problem is if you can figure out something that would cause atrophy of those external obliques, they still have to be functional. That's the problem, because then you won't be able to work out because they're your core. They're part of your core stabilization. You can't squat 600 pounds if your obliques don't work.
You can wear the corset. When Jay started, Jay used to wear the belt all day long.
Yeah.
He used to wear a belt, like a belt around the house.
Yeah, the problem with the advantage Jay's got is that he's got the widest shoulders in the history of bodybuilding. I don't think anyone has a clavicle that goes as wide as Jay's.
It's funny that you point that out, because people used to gasp even when he was like 20 at his width.
Yeah, he's crazy wide. He doesn't have it. He has probably one of the thickest waists in bodybuilding, but it looks good because his shoulders are 15 times as wide as his waist. Yeah. He actually has a taper. But if you go put a measuring tape on his waist, you'd probably be like, "Oh, this is pretty big," But that's what bodybuilding is about. It's about illusion,
Yeah.
And Ruli's pretty wide too. I mean, that's why even though he has a thicker waist, it doesn't matter because his width is amazing. The problem is he's not that tall, Ruli, and I think that's what hurts him a little bit. I think Ramy's taller than him, isn't he?
I think they're about the same height.
Are they really? Because I think it seems like Ramy's distributed better, his body. Even though Ruli's got freakier muscle.
Yeah, he's rounded. Remy is rounder through the pecs, which gives a better, lines to the midsection.
Quads too.
And the quads are way rounder, on the sweep, so that makes his waist look smaller.
Yeah, but I mean, look, Ruli's a very, very, very dangerous guy in this lineup. And of course, Dexter Jackson. Dexter's the most dangerous guy because we've seen so many Arnolds that we've billed as this is going to be a great show, and we're all excited to go. And then we're watching each guy come out and do their 60-second routine, and I'm like, this guy's out of shape, 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 out of shape. Oh, Dexter in shape. Oh, he wins. And isn't that the case? I mean, we've seen it so many times over that the most unexpected guys do well because the guys that look or supposed to do well,
Well,
are
it's
just not in shape.
Chad would summarize Dexter's dangerousness this way. It was a great analysis once. I asked him, what you think of Dexter? He said, he looked pretty good. I said, how do you think, where's he going to place? Oh, he said, he'll win. And I said, really? He said, yeah, because he has the key areas. He's really, really tight in the key areas. The glutes, the hams, and his tie-ins on the side, the glutes and hams and the biceps, triceps. So the glutes, hams, key areas, and the tie-ins, which negates a lot of people's mass.
Yeah, no, especially when that mass is not in the best shape. You when you look at a picture of Big Ramy and let's not mention Big Ramy. Take a picture of Rully Winkler, okay, and Dexter, and if you compare them, you're like, there's no way that this guy Dexter could ever beat Rully Winkler. But you bring Rully Winkler in a little off, maybe holding a little water, and Dexter starts to exploit, Rully's, structural issues, and your eye just goes to Dexter. You're like, Dexter's better, and how you can do that with all the mass, that Rully has is you would think that you can't do it, but when you start breaking it down pose by pose, you realize, hey, Dexter's better, So I really think the show is Cedric's to lose. That I'm going to go on that. I'm going to go on record as saying that. I believe that if he comes in at his best, I think he wins. I think if he doesn't, he could be out of the top 5. I think that's that's a distinct possibility. But I think once again, a guy like Rully is kind of like in the same boat as Dexter. They're so freaky and they're so good but they have their own. Dexter's just not the biggest guy up there. Rully just doesn't have the best structure. But if everyone else, the structure guys are off, the Bonacs are a little off, man, these guys step right in. And, like I said, don't count Wolf out. Wolf might not be good enough to win, but, if he comes in with great conditioning, which it looks like he is possessing at this point, even though he's a little on the small side, he could be in the top 5 or 6 easily and still grab a placing, which would be I think Wolf, that should be Wolf's goal at this point. It's not to come in and win the Arnold. It's to say, hey, I'm back. I'm good. I have good symmetry. I'm not over or underdeveloped on any one side because of my injury. And I'm just going to continue to get better from this point on. And I think
who knows, Dave? Who knows? He might be one of these wacky bodies where he, carbs up for 6 full days and comes in full as a house and, has the deep lines and really looks impressive.
Right.
You don't know.
Right. Hide Yamagishi. Good idea or bad idea to move back up to that open class?
It's probably it's probably a bad idea in the context that he has. Look at the people we just talked about.
Yeah.
But it's a good idea for his physique because I think I always thought he was just too small for the 212s.
He was too tall.
I just never. There's no 212 show that I ever saw him in, ever, including the Arnold that he quote won.
Mm-hmm.
That I thought he looked good, and yet I can remember him getting 10th at the Olympia in the Open, and looking really good at a bigger body weight.
He's a taller 212 guy. I mean, let's face it. He's very limited by that 212 cutoff. If the 212 class was a 217 class, different story. I think he then becomes very dangerous.
It's funny. They open up. They push up the classic weight, but not the 212.
I know. That was what I was going to bring up next. I said it is pretty funny. How about go up to 215 for the 212 class?
3 pounds is monumental.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it changes the whole scope of the class now. We talk about, Flex Wheeler. I think Lee Priest was talking about Flex Wheeler's physique on Iron Rage this past week. And he said, I was talking about who is the best Arnold Classic champion of all time. And he said, I think it might be Flex. But I liked Flex when he first won it, when he was 218. He said because he had the crazy lines and his conditioning was wacky.
Yeah, he was the best. And that was his all-time best.
Yeah, and the funny thing is he almost could have made the 212 class. Isn't that crazy?
I know, it is crazy. Crazy.
He certainly, I don't know if he would have been a classic. He could have almost made classic. I don't know what the cutoff was.
He looked classic. I mean, he's the epitome of everything that year.
Yeah, he would have cleaned up. He was probably one of the smallest Arnold Classic champions of all time, and he looked like one of the best.
Yeah.
Would you say that he was the best of all time? Of the Arnold Classic champs?
What's that?
Who was the best Arnold Classic champion of all time, in your mind? I mean, you could either go with Dexter because he won 5, or you can go with like a guy like a Flex Wheeler who won 4, obviously, or Levrone who won 3.
I mean, just the best look was the best look ever for him was Wheeler's win, and probably Levrone when he won in '94. That was his best look.
Yeah, when they were early in their careers.
It was a tremendously rugged look. He beat Wheeler for that show. It was controversial. Could have gone either way.
I know he beat him in '96. I helped him in '96. Did he win?
96.
96
96 was his best look.
Yeah, that's when he was the biggest.
Could have gone either way. That was the best lineup ever.
Yeah, they both were great. It was an Olympia showdown for sure in that lineup. Jay looked phenomenal in his 3 wins at the Arnold. I mean, that you got to consider that, pretty impressive as well. I didn't think Nasser looked that great when he won the Arnold, to be honest with you. I think they threw him a bone on that one.
I thought it was a bone.
Yeah.
Be careful. It might get back to him.
Listen,
it might be in a text. It might be in a text message somewhere, Dave.
Chris,
you don't know how many text message.
Chris, I did not get a gift for that Arnold, but I will tell you that they have fucked me before this, and I am sure that maybe if someone had said something, hey, why don't you give Nasser what he deserves? And when they got back the former champions, I did not go. People think that I skipped the event, but the truth was that they wanted me to fly from a certain airport, and I told them I am no longer living here anymore, and I am in Egypt at this point, and they did not want to fly me from. whole diatribe about that. Anyway,
I remember that show.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him backstage and thinking that's also it was not a good show. He looked good. He looked good, but I thought it was.
It was a little soft in that show.
Yeah.
But I will say this: the best that Nasser ever looked.
When he was disqualified.
No, I don't know about that, but I thought he looked really good in the '97 Olympia.
Oh no, dude! Go back and look the year that he was disqualified.
From the Arnold?
From the Olympia.
Oh, from the Olympia, because what, he failed the diuretic test, something like that?
Yeah.
And then is that when he went and hired Chad after that?
I don't know. I don't know what the deal was.
I think he tried it. Yeah, because Chad was had the way to beat the test. He was giving him the Demodex, all these guys. He would bring it in a little powder form to the people's rooms.
I don't know.
I did like the way Nasser looked at the Olympia in '97. I thought it was a really good look for him.
I'm telling you, the year he was disqualified, he would have destroyed that '97 look. He did destroy the '97 look.
I gotta find those pictures. I'm sure one of our listeners
He looked super freaky.
will show me. We'll bring him on. He had some good years. He did have some good years. He had the kind of physique though. As he got a little older, he started to see it
fall apart.
Yeah, it started to fall apart. It seems like that happens a lot with the bigger guys.
Well, he used the magic muffins too, so
yeah,
he put the magic muffins in the shoulders and the arms and the triceps.
So he's getting scar tissue. Yeah, he had those big lumps in his rear delts or something like that. Let's talk about the 212 division. Small, 7 guys, but deadly. Of course, Jose Raymond. I have to believe he's probably the guy to beat in this lineup, especially since Hadi Chupin will not be making it. And Chris, we do give you accolades for that. You predicted it from the beginning that he would not be there.
Yeah.
I guess you can thank your good friend Donald Trump, right, for that.
That's right.
Jose Raymond obviously coming off a disappointing Olympia. I think an Arnold win here for him would be tremendous. It would give him tremendous momentum. I think it would certainly reinvigorate him. Now, he did say early in the year or late last year that this was going to be his last year competing. Do you think that is the truth? I mean,
I don't know with Jose, man. Who knows?
He could change his mind, right?
Jose could change his mind. He could, this could. Who knows? I think that's his intention.
Right.
But sometimes your actions and your intentions, there's a disconnect for a lot of reasons.
Yeah. David Henry, of course, being a former
Very dangerous.
202
Dangerous.
Olympian. Dangerous, but, legs haven't been up to snuff the last couple of years.
They were snuff enough last year. He got second.
I guess. But when he's in shape, see, people don't realize this. I think, and I don't think even Henry realizes this. He's better off sacrificing a little size just for his crazy, freaky conditioning that he brings in, because he's so deadly in that hands together, most muscular shot he hits. The front double's great. His back shots are great. He's always got the crazy glutes and hamstrings in that lower back. The showy muscles. He's dangerous, and that's the bottom line. So you can never count him out. Obviously, probably the dark horse in this lineup would be Kamala Garden Ii, who we interviewed 2 weeks ago. He's won the world championships in Europe, like 7 times. It's like 5 different weight classes, something like that. This guy, no one's seen him on a pro level yet. This is his pro debut. He has been an amateur superstar in the rest of the world for many, 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 many years. And he's not a young guy. He's 46 years old. So we're talking about another Dexter Jackson here. Can this guy win it? You're working with him.
I don't know. And if I say I don't know, that's probably not a good, because that's my guy.
I know it's hard for you because you're working with so many.
No, it's not hard. It's not hard at all. It's not hard at all. I don't know if he's, I don't know what he's going to look like. I know what people look like next to each other who've already competed next to each other. So it's the same group in the open class. They've always competed against each other. I know what Dexter, CEDRIC, all these guys look like. But I've never seen him on stage, period, let alone next to David Henry, Jose Raymond, the two people we just talked about. So it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I would say this is that his lines will carry him, and if his lines and flow might make him a lot more dangerous than he appears.
Yeah. Sammy Trouty in this lineup as well. We just interviewed him on RxMuscle this past week from Sweden. And he is obviously very dangerous as well. He's been up and coming. He made a pretty big impact last year. A lot of people thought he got really, really robbed with that 9th place finish at the New York Pro. And he
looked insane at the New York Pro.
Yeah, he did. He really should have been way, way higher. But I think I think he just got lost in the lineup. And he kind of got a little retribution with some of the placings he got later in that year. But, I think this year he's coming in ready. He seems like he's got his head on straight. His wife's pregnant now, thanks to my pregnancy protocol. And it worked really fast.
He asked me for that protocol.
No, he emails me all the time. He constantly, he's a big fan of the show. He listens to everything we do. I'm sure he's listening to this as well. And the pregnancy protocol works so fast. In a month, he thought he was going to miss the whole season of competing. He was able to compete the first show of the year. So
he's probably going to have twins.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Obviously, Guy Cisternino, deadly in these lineups too. Obviously, you can't count him out. He'll be the hardest guy in the lineup, I'm sure. How's he doing?
Guy had a very fast and quick prep. And he probably didn't commit to the show until really 3 days ago.
Really? How do you do that? How do you don't you have to be invited ahead of time?
Well, he was invited, but he never put his John Hancock on the contract.
Really? Wow. Why is that?
So
is he having some...
because he got started, he got invited, and I don't know if he was sure that he was going to do it, and he hadn't been in the Guy Cisternino crazy mode for quite a while.
Yeah.
So, when he started out in January 1st, he was not the typical guy like blasting full and round and in good shape.
Yeah.
So, you're trying to play catch up, which means, pulling rabbits out of your
Sure.
your shirt. So,
well, let's see what he brings. Charles Dixon, very dangerous in this lineup too. One of the biggest guys in that 212 division. How he makes the weight class is amazing. I think it's just the fact that he's like 5 feet tall that enables him to pack all that mass and still weigh in and make weight. And Kyung-Won Kang from South Korea. Speaking of South Korea, have you been watching the Olympics at all?
I didn't watch any of it.
Really?
And I didn't watch the Arnold Classic on TV either.
I
didn't watch any of it. Not
there's
one
been
bit.
some crazy.
I'm not a winter
performances.
sports fan, you know.
I'm not usually either, but you know what? I put the TV on while I'm watching while we're eating dinner, and I get sucked in because I'm really a sports fan by nature. The fact that I haven't watched football in 2 seasons is pretty amazing, because what happens is I'm so busy that I purposely won't watch the sports. The Olympics I can rationalize because it's like a week or two, and it's only every 4 years. So I've been watching, and I love it. I really do.
Well, you're so busy. You do radio shows at 1 a.m.
Yeah, that's the only time I have time. You know what I do? I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted in the morning. What I do is I like when I bring my son up for a nap, I take a nap with him. And then I get my second wind, and then I can't fall asleep. So, but I'm up all night answering emails and stuff like that. And then I go to, it's like a vicious cycle in that. I'm like, I wish I could fall asleep like my son falls asleep. He'll take a nap, and then he goes to bed at regular bedtime, and he goes right to bed. He has nothing on his mind. I have too much shit on my mind. You know how that is. I don't have to tell you about that.
No, the minute my eyes open, my mind starts flying. Actually, it's probably like 20 minutes before they open.
You ever go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and you say, "Don't think about anything. Don't think about anything.
I'm not that
Don't
bad.
think
No,
about
I'm not that
anything."
bad. No, I know how to shut it off completely until my eyeballs open up.
No, because I get up, I have to pee. I pee, and when I'm on the toilet, I'm like, maybe I should look at my phone. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, my phone is not in my room. It's downstairs.
Smart. Very smart. Men's Classic Physique, they're going to have that cattle call again. 33 guys, and the top 10 make it to the finals. Very good lineup. Very, very good lineup we have here. Breon Ansley, who's obviously the reigning Olympia champ, will be in this lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see who else I like in this lineup. Santi Aragon I really like a lot. Love his physique.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Ford, up-and-coming guy. Really, really good. Danny Hester, former Olympia champ.
It's funny, I don't even know who Kevin Ford is. I know the name. Kevin Ford, right?
I know because his girlfriend sends me pictures of him, so that's how I know. Danny Hester, dangerous, obviously. Arash Rabar in this lineup. Robert Timms, who we both like a lot as well.
Oh, he's training with Gaspari now.
Is he really? I didn't know that.
Gaspari is prepping him. That's what I heard.
Robert Timms?
Yeah, he's
I thought
big.
that was the DJ guy.
Check it out. I think it's. I think there's been a
big news. So good lineup. Lee Banks in that lineup as well, and once again, I think we're going to see a big battle. I think it's going to be a close-knit battle between Arash and Breon Ansley. I can't imagine that they're not going to be squaring off in that top 2 finish right there. I've seen some pictures of Arash. He looks really good. You know.
Yeah, it looks big.
Yeah. So, well, now he has that ability to be 5 pounds heavier this year. So that's definitely going to work to his advantage.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that was the problem last year. He couldn't make the weight.
Yeah. I have pictures of him at 230 ripped.
Wow. Yeah.
Not 221.
No, he's a bigger guy. He definitely
not
is.
hard, ripped.
We'll see what happens. The Arnold men's physique, also another cattle call. I have to think that Andre Ferguson is the man to beat in this lineup. Ray Edmonds, also very, very dangerous. Andre just won that Medellin show 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So he's on a roll, of course. Brandon Hendrickson, a former Arnold Classic champ, in the lineup. So he's trying to make it number 2. And I think it's going to be a pretty good men's physique top 5 there. Now, I won't be going, but you'll be representing us there. So, my our photographer will be there, Raphael Noble. So hopefully he's bringing his video camera, Chris. So you'll be doing wrap-ups. Hopefully with maybe Lee Priest, because Lee Priest will be there as well. So hopefully we'll get some good stuff in there. I see Harold Kelly trying to defend his wheelchair championship from the past 2 years. Fitness International will be devoid of Oksana Grishina, who retired, of course. So who will step up? We really don't know at this point. Whitney Jones, always a top finisher in this lineup, of course. Bethany Wagner, always a great performer and top finisher. Ariel Kadar, the youngest girl in the lineup, probably. She'll be dangerous. And Dorina Wilson, who's probably got one of the best routines in fitness right now, was diagnosed with breast cancer. I don't know if you're aware of that, Chris. And,
No, I'm not.
Yeah, she's doing the show because she's not starting. I guess she's going to get surgery after the show on the breast cancer. And I don't know what protocols they're going to put her on after, but she's decided she's going to do the show with the cancer, and she's going to put her 100%. And so it'll be interesting to see. This will be a real emotional, competition for her, I'm sure. So wishing her the best. Lots of prayers out there, obviously, for her to recover after that the surgery that she has after the show's over. Figure International, great lineup. Sydney Gillum, your reigning Figure Olympia champ, is going to be squaring off against last year's champion. Do you know who that is? Candice Lewis Carter. So Candice Lewis and Sydney Gillum will be going head-to-head. Latoria Watts not in this lineup this year, but Heather Dees will be in there, and a bunch of other top competitors. But I think it'll be a 2-woman show as far as I'm concerned. In the Bikini International, we have Janet Laig, one of my favorites. Romina Basualdo, who just won in Medellin down there. She'll be coming into the show. I love Tony Eubanks. She'll be in the lineup as well from Texas. And Jennifer Ronzitti, who was second at the Bikini Olympia, Chris, will be in this lineup, facing off against our Olympia champ and last year's champion, Angelica Teixeira. So, once again, this is basically your Olympia lineup here, so that's going to be great. I heard that, what's her name? I'm drawing a blank now. She was supposed to do the show. Was it Ashley Compwasser was supposed to do the show and she got sick? Someone told me. So she's out of the lineup. Now, in the women's physique lineup, my favorite in this lineup, assuming she makes it to the stage, Chris, is Shanique Grant. You saw the pictures of her recently. She's deadly, this girl. I mean, if she shows up, can anyone beat her?
I think Arash can beat her, or Breon.
Yeah, she's like another Linda Murray in the making, really. I mean, when you think about it. I mean, Kira Newman has placed second at the Olympia before. She's in the lineup looking great, but Natalia Colho, who moved over from Figure, she did her first show last year in women's physique at the last minute, and she won. Terrific shape, young, lots of muscle, super ripped. But does anyone have that structure of a Shanique Grant at this point in time?
Not even close.
No, I don't think so either. I agree. So, look, we got a lot of fun stuff going on this weekend. When do you get to Columbus?
Tuesday night.
Oh, wow. So you're going to be there.
Yeah.
You're in there for the long run.
I'm just getting there to get out of here.
Is it snowing there?
No, I mean, just to get away from my kids.
Oh. You're funny.
It's funny because it's true.
You're lucky your wife lets you leave, man.
Well, I don't go many places, period. So.
Yeah, that's true.
But I figured, the reason I went on a Tuesday was simply because I didn't want to have to deal with the snow,
Right.
like cancellations.
Yeah,
In other words, no, because
if
if it's snowing in Maine, you miss the flight.
Yep.
You have to go the next day. But as odd as it sounds, a lot of times it is sunny and 35 in Maine, and I find out, your connection in Philly, it's snowing. Your connection in, wherever the connections
3
may
years
go.
ago, you remember it happened. It was a crazy snowstorm in Columbus, Ohio. We actually were supposed to fly in on I think it was Thursday morning or something like that, and we actually I don't know how we finagled it, but we got them to change the flight to Wednesday night, and we flew in there, and I had to get an extra night. It was like a whole nightmare, but it actually turned out to be terrific. But and they upgraded us to these crazy suites and everything like that. But it was but. Once again, you're right. You're better off going in a little early, not to play it safe. To play it safe, where you don't have to be panicking. There's nothing worse than sitting in an airport, knowing you're not getting out, and you're just sitting there the whole freaking day. Believe me, I've gone through it before. It's not fun. So, all right, well, that's going to be fun. Let me just, I want to just talk about a couple other stories before we go. Did you see in the news, Chris?
I watch everything on the news.
That...
Unless it's TMZ news.
In Texas.
Oh, I might have missed it.
At Euless Trinity School in Texas, a transgender wrestler. Okay, this is a girl who is becoming a boy. Okay, so she's on testosterone. She's a wrestler, though. and
The Dan Duchesne cycle.
right, and and she wants to. She wanted to wrestle with the boys because she calls herself a boy. She's not. She doesn't. Her name's Mac Beggs, and they wouldn't let her. According to Texas rules, if you're genetically born as a woman, then you must wrestle. You must compete. In sports with the women. And of course, people were outraged because this girl is on testosterone, and she won the state title 2 years in a row. She's undefeated. None of these girls can beat her. And she's not a boy. She's a girl, but she's on boy hormones.
You want the conclusion of it?
I want your opinion. Yes.
My opinion of it is if there was a boy in Texas who was 17 years old and he was wrestling for the state championship and he was on 10 mg Vannevar a day, they would say performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
So I understand. I mean, what is the difference?
She's competing against girls. She's a
using
girl, but she's on
using a
testosterone.
performance-enhancing
Testosterone's a lot
drug.
stronger, right? Oh yeah, I agree, 100%.
That's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not get disqualified for using a performance-enhancing drug?
You're right. Well, because they're saying it's medically necessary.
It still enhances your performance.
Of course it does. They're dummies. They don't really understand that, these school district people.
Well, that's why I gave the example of it was a boy using 10 Dianabol a day. They'd hunt down his father and put him on, on the news and say his father gave him, Dianabol so that he could become the wrestling champion.
Yeah. What they should have done, to be honest, I mean, I guess, who am I to say anything? If this person wanted to compete in sports, they probably should have waited till they turned 18 to start using, testosterone.
Performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, so testosterone is clearly a performance enhancing. It's like it's just nonsense.
They don't understand. See, these doctors think because it's a physiological dose that it's.
Well, that's why I gave you the example of 10 milligrams of Anavar instead of like 1,000 milligrams.
Right, but you know what the problem is? It would be fine if she was wrestling other boys, but she's wrestling other girls who have no testosterone or very, 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 very little in their body, obviously. So I don't know. I don't agree with it.
Even if
I
she
feel
was
bad
wrestling
because
boys, Dave, if she was wrestling boys, I'll give you the example. You want the really? If she's wrestling boys, she's still using a performance enhancing drug.
Right, but at least the boys produce their own testosterone. So
well, I get news for you. I should Google it. There was a girl in Maine who was wrestling for the state championship, and she's wrestling the boys. I wonder if she won. I'm serious, and she wasn't taking testosterone.
Beggs wants to wrestle boys and said he would if the law didn't exist, although it said publicly that it has never received an official request from Beggs or his school asking to wrestle the boys. So the Texas school district is saying that he's saying he wants to wrestle the boys, but we never received the request, so who knows. The whole thing is kind of the whole transitioning thing is very difficult, and I hate to say it because it's messy. It's messy, and when you have a girl who wants to be a boy and a boy who wants to be a girl, it becomes difficult to put them in the right place with regard to sports because sports is segregated. It's not.
Hold on. Let me interject.
Yeah.
Here's the article. Maybe she should just not use performance-enhancing drugs. Oak Hill wrestler hopes to be first girl in Maine to pin down a state championship. Junior Zoe Buto, who last week became just the fourth girl to win a regional title, must win 3 matches Saturday to make history. No test.
And she's wrestling the boys?
No D-ball.
She's wrestling the boys?
Yes.
And she's
There's
a girl.
a picture of her. There's a picture
How
of
come in Maine?
There's a picture of her.
Why is Maine?
She's pinning the guy, and my goodness, I think it looks like you.
Why is
Dramatic.
Maine allowing this girl to wrestle the boys, but Texas won't?
I don't know.
See, because they'll say all those liberals in Maine.
Maybe we should send the Maine girl down here with no tests to wrestle the girl on tests.
Right, that would be a great match. That's something you could put on TV, even. See, Chris, we missed.
Put it on the RX YouTube station.
We'll call you Don.
Yeah, Austin Lloyd didn't commentate on it.
We'll call you Don Aceto King. I don't know. it's a little weird. You know, it says Beggs is also working towards a gender reassignment surgery. Well, what do they do for women? Can they actually? They can't even make women into men.
His daughter's a boy.
Right, but I don't think she had any bottom surgery. She had top surgery. She had her boobs removed.
You get the magic muffin squashed into the shape of a.
I don't think they could do it.
They can make. If Ernie Taylor can blow out those bison tries like he had blasted out back in the day.
Oh man, remember that?
And he was just
Ernie Taylor's biceps were bigger than his triceps.
And he was just winging it. He didn't know what he was doing.
No.
And so, I mean, I think the technology.
Remember Ernie Taylor? You know what Ernie Taylor used to do? If you haven't seen guys on, these are for people who don't know what we're talking about. Guys on stage, they shake their quad and then they lock it down. If you have big quads, DeMeo used to do it. Jay did it. I know I did it. And Ernie used to shake his arms. He used to shake his arms on stage, his triceps. He would shake them like they were a quad hanging off his arm, and then he would knock them down. it was hysterical. All right, I got one more story for you. A study came out, Chris, that shows that drinking alcohol may be better than exercise for living past 90.
Yes, I do believe that. You know what? My wife asked me a question today. She's doing some paper, writing a grant to some foundation, and she's looking for money for Maine rural farmers, and she's tying it into this. She's trying to get this grant money to rural farmers, but using a nutrition angle in that, tackling poor nutrition affects people's health. And she asked me, do people realize the connection between nutrition and health? And I said, absolutely no. I mean, doctors don't, so I guess that would be people, right? I mean, your regular physician. I took my boys to see the doctor, and, you don't have to be in shape to be a bodybuilding guru, and you don't have to be in shape to be a doctor, true. But, it kind of like strained my credibility if I was like 400 pounds. So when the doctor was like 290, there's a connection between probably what you eat and, weighing 290.
Yeah, I can see.
So, what was the question you asked me, Dave? Because there is a tie-in somewhere.
I said, are you shocked by the fact that this study came out? I'm going to read you all the study.
Oh, so I told my wife, I said, it's you know what? Of course nutrition is more important. It's more important than exercise. I said, there's people all over Greece and Italy and all these studies where people eat olives and they eat some fish and they eat vegetables and a little bit of beans and they drink wine and they don't exercise. Maybe they walk around the neighborhood, but they lived 100 years old.
Yeah.
So it's more important than exercise. And I'm rationalizing because I don't do any exercise.
Here's the study. But you don't drink either. This the study says that the 90 plus or living to 90 plus years study, led by the University of California neurologist Claudia Cowis, says that seniors drinking a moderate amount of alcohol each day lowered their risk of premature death more than seniors who exercise daily. The study has monitored over 1,600 people over the age of 90 since 2003. According to the findings, Dr. Cowis presented at the 2018 American Association for the Advancement of Science conference in Texas. Having 2 glasses of wine or beer dropped the chance of premature death by 18%. Now that's significant. Daily exercise for 15 to 40 minutes was found to only reduce premature death by 11%. So my dad had it right the whole time. That freaking wine he was drinking, that's why he's living so long. Now, the funny thing is, since my dad's been in the assisted living place that he's living in now, he doesn't drink at all. So I wonder if now he's gonna die quick.
As a detriment. Yeah, my father doesn't drink in assisted living.
I think he already got the benefits of all the alcohol he's been doing.
You can bring him wine, right? Can you bring him? You can.
Yeah, they don't want. I don't think they want my dad drunk over there because I'm afraid they'll kick him out of there. That's the problem.
It may interfere with the entertainment portion of his.
Sure. He doesn't even miss it. He doesn't even know. That's the funny thing. That's what's great about my dad losing his mind. He doesn't yell at me about all the things that he doesn't have available to him. He might ask for a glass of wine. I'll say, yeah, I'll go out and get you one. I'll be back in
if he gets in 10 minutes?
Yeah, he has 10 minutes. He gets in 30 seconds. Yeah. So it's great. It's very easy to deal with my dad. I just agree with everything he says. and he's almost when I'm on the phone with him, he almost like is like, what's going on here? He's agreeing with me. Like he's almost like waiting for me to argue with him. He's like, I need you to come here right now. I said, all right, give me 10 minutes. Is that enough? He's like, all right, take 20. Just don't get into an accident getting over here. I said, all right, I'll be right over. He's like, all right. You're coming? You're coming? I said, yeah. I said, oh, okay, great. All right, I'll see you. No, he doesn't remember. 5 minutes later, he forgot. So it's better, and I've read some stuff that these handouts they give at the place too, and they say, people who lose a memory, you're better off agreeing with everything they say because it reduces anxiety and stress in them. It's silly to sit there and argue with them about the fact that they can't remember that he's in Florida when he thinks he's in New York.
Yeah, some marriage counselors tell their husbands to tell their wives the same thing.
Oh, you're funny. So now I've got validation that I can drink my red wine every day. It's funny because my dad used to come home from work and he would with dinner. He'd always have a glass of red wine. This is before he would drink a lot. He would have to relax, so to speak. And you know what? I find myself I'm the same way. I get out of work and come up out of the house. We're like, all right, let's make dinner. I'm like,
you gotta unwind.
I gotta unwind. I gotta drink I don't drink. I drink like a half a glass of wine, but I'll sip it. I'm like, oh, I feel better. Oh, I can relax. I'm like, I'm fucking becoming my dad. I can't believe this.
Yeah. Oh, there's no matter what you do, you will become your father. There's no doubt about that.
Amanda put up a picture of my son now and a picture of me around the same age, and she's like, who does Logan look like, Dave or Sal? And everyone's like, Sal. Everyone's putting Dave's dad because he's got the same head as my dad, same head shape. But so we. Finally, my son has all these like little skills he does these little dances and flips and stuff like that, and he's got a couple words and he's increased his vocabulary now. He's starting to talk a little more. So like I always wanted to show off to my dad because my dad gets such a kick out of all the stuff he does.
Sure.
So I'm like his new thing is he actually looks at when he's looking at his phone and at videos and he's looking at the pictures of my dad. He'll be like, he calls him Papa. He goes, Papa. That's his new word. I'm like, holy. He really, and every time he sees my dad, I'm like, who is that? He's like, Papa. So I'm like, all right, Logan, you got to do this you got to do this for Grandpa when we go see him. So we're in the room, and I'm like, he's not going to perform. My father's like, you were the same way. I always tried to get you to perform for people. You never would do anything I asked you to do.
Stage fright.
So my son takes his pacifier out of his mouth. He goes, Papa. I couldn't believe it. It was like he knew we were talking about him. It was like you could talk because when kids don't talk, you talk in the room like they don't really know what's going on, but he's hearing everything. And my father was thrilled. He was thrilled. I actually videotaped him also singing "All of Me" because I think I told you this off camera, but every other week at the Gulf Coast Village there, they have something. They have karaoke night, and it's called "Sing Along with Sal." Because my father's the king of karaoke there, even though he doesn't remember. I'm like, Dad, you know that you run the whole karaoke? Matter of fact, I don't know if anyone else sings except my dad there. To be honest, I think my dad does all the numbers. They're like, okay, next song up, Sal, take over. And Sal, my father basically performs, for the whole village community there. So I'm like, Dad, do you know that they have sing along with Sal? Because they have like a schedule on my dad's door they post every week. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Dad, look. I bring the schedule over to my show. I said, sing along with Sal. This is you. He's like, it is? He says, what am I doing? I said, evidently the nurses tell me that you get up and you sing. They say you're very good. He goes,
tape it.
I want to find, I think it's this Wednesday. I got to find out what time it is because you're right. I do want to tape it. Because I always ask the nurses to tape it. They're like, oh, we're not allowed. They're like, you can, we're not allowed. I said, just do it. I said, do it, and here's my cell phone, and text it to me. So I gotta show up there and tape this thing. So I made him sing in the room. I'm like, Dad, let me hear what your voice sounds like. He goes, I don't know if I'm gonna be in voice right now. I'm like, Dad, just sing He said, what do you want me to sing? I said, sing, Dad, your song is All of Me from Frank Sinatra. All right, fine, I'll sing it. Right now? I said, yeah, right now. So I videotaped him. Maybe I'll put it up on Facebook, Instagram. It's pretty funny. I might wait till Wednesday and see. I got to get him when he's in the right mood. You know what I mean? If there's people,
yeah, when he's in the mood to sing, he's got to be in it.
What happens if there's people around watching? His voice goes up about 10 octaves and he gets louder. He becomes better. Like my dad rises to the occasion. he needs the fan input, like to inspire him to sing better.
Yeah, he needs the audience. It's like when bodybuilders need an Instagram account to get prep for a show. He needs the likes. The likes.
Yeah.
That's his version of the likes.
Yeah. Speaking of accolades, I was watching. I don't know if it's the anniversary of Muhammad Ali's death or something, but I was watching Muhammad Ali videos. Did I send you the link to it?
No, but I've watched everything to ever watch on Muhammad Ali.
There's all the funny stuff that Muhammad Ali has done, and I'm listening to some of the rhetoric that he has. I'm like, this is CEDRIC MCMILLAN. CEDRIC and Muhammad Ali would have been best friends, guaranteed. If
they're artists.
If they would have been contemporaries.
You know, of course they would. You know why? Muhammad Ali is, put it this way, CEDRIC MCMILLAN is an artist, and his body is his canvas. I know that sounds silly to people, like in a cliche, but that's exactly what it is.
Don't you think if Muhammad Ali hadn't gotten Parkinson's, that him and Arnold would have definitely been friends? I can guarantee it.
Of course.
If Arnold loved CEDRIC, he would have loved Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
And his sense of humor and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. It's the irony of irony. The guy with the biggest mouth.
Yeah.
Right? Lost his voice.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I'm wondering is if CEDRIC does pull off this victory, how can he top last year's speech? That's
easy, because he's an artist.
What can he possibly say after last year's speech?
Well, he might take the militant route.
he in his mind he definitely has a cause that he's.
I predict he poses. No, he'll get pissed if I make a prediction, but I'll predict it anyway, even though he won't.
What?
Even though that he poses to Black Panther, whatever the soundtrack is.
Oh, you think so? Is he inspired by that movie?
No, I don't know, but it's Marvel Comics, and
Yeah, you're right. He might even paint his body and look like Black Panther for all we know.
Yeah. He might work in the Wakanda little. I don't know if you've seen the movie yet, or
no, I haven't seen it.
I don't know what you call it, the Wakanda Shuffle.
Shuffle instead of the Ali Shuffle, right? Oh my God! Look, I'm not going to even be there, but I'm assuming they're probably live streaming it somewhere, right?
Yeah, of course they are somewhere.
Yeah, all right, so I'll have to watch it. And you'll be doing all the wrap-ups and everything like that, and so we'll get you in touch with our photographer, make sure everything is. And I'm going to get you in touch with Lee Priest too, because I think you and Lee Priest doing a wrap-up will be phenomenal on RxMuscle. So, just if Sean Ray tries to steal anyone from you,
I was going to say, well,
if Sean Ray tries to do anything, just let Lee Priest take care of it.
Yeah, I'll have Lee handle it.
that might be the highlight of the weekend. Lee versus Sean Ray backstage, duking it out.
Well,
maybe we should send Big Lenny there as Lee Priest's bodyguard against Sean Ray. All the Big Lenny fans are probably cheering that I mentioned his name on the show. Well, Chris, you'll keep us updated. We'll be getting feedback from you and reports. For now, though, we're out of time until next week. Remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
See you next week.